Okay, smile. Just still to the left a little. That's it. And I smile. There you go. You kwaje? Kosaka. Mi naona profession hapa itachange kiasi. This is my instructor who is a student of photography, and that is Ruth. I got your name right?
Yes.
I'll be coming to you in just a bit. We have our model here, Mohammed, with a beautiful smile, Maze. Even if he was not into photography, that smile I'll just be taking and snapping away. Then we have Liki Mdwati, who is the CEO for Decapture.
Yes.
And last but not least, we have Sarah. Great to meet you guys. And first of all, some beautiful pictures we have here. And you've come up with this project called My Maasai. Mm-hmm. Okay. Maybe, yes. Sarah, you could fill us in. What is My Maasai all about?
My Maasai is a project that we worked on in collaboration with a Dutch photographer, Jan Hoek. And basically it was bringing back the photography of the Maasai people to the locals. So many images on the internet right now of the Maasai have been taken by foreigners, and it's a very stereotypical image. So what we wanted to do is kind of explore the different facets of the Maasai as a people and shift away kind of from those images that are.
And when you say they're stereotypical, I agree, because when I imagine, if I close my eyes and just imagine of a Maasai photograph, literally I can see the Maasai either jumping or holding a spear or with that famous pose of theirs, you know, yes, as they're kneeling. So Liki, what brought this about?
We thought about giving students a practical experience and mentorship. Sarah, Mohammed, and Jan are international photographers. And then we thought it's quite important that we have students learn on the job and actually get to get a hands-on experience of how it goes. Mm-hmm. It's a beautiful experience. My Maasai is a perception of what the students think the Maasai should look like in today's world.
Oh, so that's what it is. You're basically, yes, transforming a Maasai and giving them a new, in terms of photography.
Yes.
Giving them a new look.
We are actually,
a different look.
Yes, a different look. Mm-hmm. It's been overdone. And then we have representation from the foreigners. Mm-hmm. How about we get a representation from our own local photography, our own African photographers getting to represent our own story.
Why do you think foreigners are possibly more interested in our Maasai photography than we are, Sarah?
It's exotic, you know, it's tribal. It represents an image of Africa that the Westerners want to keep, which is that we are somewhat uncivilized to a certain extent. So I think perpetuating that image is kind of what they like to see. You'll see it used by different designers who will use the shuka or will have a Maasai in their fashion shoots to kind of perpetuate that image. And so for us, you know, it's important to show Africa in a different light. And yes, the Maasai are there. Yes, they are a cultural heritage, and we appreciate them. But we would also like to see other things from them. They do other things, and you know, Africa and Kenya is about other things as well. But in this context, we wanted to show that there are different images of the Maasai and the regular people as well.
Okay. Yeah. And Liki, is this something? Is it like a one-off project? Is it something that you're just doing, or is it going to be extended as part of a syllabus of learning? I think you teach photography, right?
Yes, we teach photography at Decapture, media music training. But My Maasai is a project on its own. Then we're going to what next? What next? Most likely we're looking into doing the African Citizen. Yes. With Sarah, Mohammed, and Joel. So we are looking at giving every student a different experience, but something that is really worth going through the run.
Okay.
Yes.
And maybe let me just bring in Ruth at this point. If you can just come this way. Ruth, you're a student, and you're also involved in this project, My Maasai. Shortly, we're going to be seeing the photos you've done and what has happened. What has your experience been so far?
On the Maasai project, it was really hectic, tough. Got a lot of experience. And
why was it hectic?
Because, you know, it was the first time we did a project of this kind. Mm-hmm. So our lecturers told us not to think like students. Now think like actual photographers. Go out, do research, come back with a budget that is going to enable you to achieve your project. So you're given the budget on your own. You go out, manage the budget, find your models if you need them or whatever, and bring back the work. It's like a job. It's like you're being paid. You know, it's like you're you're
So
living
it's
for it.
literally being thrown out there and being told to
Yeah.
do this. Like, imagine this is the real world and this is exactly
This
what
is
you're
the real
doing.
world. This is what
So
you're getting
what
into.
was different between that and what you imagined a photographer is before you started this experience?
Well, before I started photography, I wanted to be a film producer. I still want to be a film producer in future.
Okay.
So I had to start somewhere, you know, to gain experience over the years. So this is where I chose to start, and I'm liking it a lot. And the capture is helping a lot of students out there because it's not like a normal school. You're being empowered. You're being taught the entrepreneurship part of the photography. You know, they don't just teach you, oh, this is the camera. You've learned how to use it, now go, make money. They teach you how to go about it, how to treat customers. Like because they've been in the business. Yeah, because they've been in the business, they have a company and a school. So they tell you this is how we've come about to reach where we are with the company. So when you go out there, as for me, even if anything would happen, God forbid, I stop school or whatever, I know I will not
So you're
suffer.
still a student, you're still in school?
Yeah, I'm almost completed.
What are you studying?
I'm studying photography with them.
Okay. I thought maybe you're still in school doing something different.
No,
than
this is my
photography.
passion.
Okay, this is your passion.
Yes.
All right, Liki, photography has grown in leaps and bounds in terms of where it's coming from. I mean, to my older uncles, if you told them a photographer, they imagine that guy on a bike who, you know, comes and takes photos and disappears for 2 weeks, then brings them on. How is the industry doing right now?
It's quite excellent. It's beautiful, it's quite resourceful, and the market itself has redefined itself. What we have right now is exhibition. For example, like right now we're running an exhibition at Tom Mboya Square, outside National Archives, to showcase what the students have done. And from that, they can be able to sell. With guidance from Sarah and the other international photographers, they are also taught how to price their creative work. All right.
Okay.
So, and not just that, we're hoping that we're going to take the work that we have done to Netherlands and into Nigeria as well. So you can see photography can take you places, and not just photography. The media arts can take you places.
Okay.
Yes.
What is it that, can somebody make a career out of photography today? I know there are some who are doing really well.
Yes.
But with that, sometimes you have an influx, a flood of people that come in, imagining it is that easy. And all you need to do is pick a camera. And again, we're in the digital age. I mean, my phone right now can take fairly decent pictures.
Yes.
So what differentiates between a good photographer and just your kawaida photographer?
Well, the thought process really counts. It's not just grooming a photographer who can click, just point and shoot. It's really about thinking about what you want to represent, doing something that is different from the ordinary. For example, my Maasai project. This is
Actually, this would be a good time to just go through the pictures.
Yes.
And maybe, Sarah, you can take us through the pictures and tell us, is this still part of My Maasai project?
Absolutely. So all these photos that you see here are part of the My Maasai project. And the idea was for each individual to interpret or to take an aspect of the Maasai culture and tradition and people and kind of interpret that photographically. This is some of the work from the students. Here she wanted to kind of combine this clash of cultures. As you can see, there's that Chinese element with the fan, and then obviously a Maasai lady. But I think the reality
And
is
again,
even now.
I think a Maasai lady with dreads, that's
Exactly, and the piercing, the eyebrow piercing.
yes, yes.
Yeah, so that modernization.
So this would be a very modern
Exactly,
Maasai.
it's a very modern Maasai, and you don't usually typically see that.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, tell me about this one.
This kind of came out of, this is actually my photo. This came
you
out,
did this?
Yeah, I did
Wow.
that.
Okay.
So this actually came out of, we went to a village and began to talk to the Maasai people, and a story came out about a Maasai goddess. And you don't really hear that. And I think it says also a lot about our culture in terms of oral traditions dying off and westernization, and then Christianity coming in and kind of killing off the old spiritual beliefs that people had. And so this is an interpretation of a story of a Pasinai, which was known to be a Maasai goddess. Mm-hmm. And that information is nowhere. But it wasn't until we began talking to the people in the village that those type of stories came up.
That they came up.
Exactly.
Now, I notice here specifically that what she's wearing is
Yes.
different in the sense that the photographs we're used to the Maasai blanket, you know,
Yes.
the one with red and blue,
Absolutely,
and you know,
yeah.
why the different clothes?
I think, you know, the colors are representative. So you know, I was true to the colors here. But again, you know, if you want to kind of move away from just the if you look at a Maasai in town today, they might be wearing a suit, you know. So it's kind of to just shift away from the stereotypical image that you see of them, but still leaving elements there so that you would recognize that, yeah, I see elements of that. And you know, cattle are very important to the Maasai, and so, excuse me,
Okay.
that's what that represents.
All right. There's also now this would be a very different kind of Maasai. This is a Maasai
Yeah.
dog.
Yes, it's a Maasai, by the way.
Oh, he is?
Yes,
Okay.
a rugby player.
This is definitely pushing the envelope in terms of changing the script, because at a glance, I would not think Maasai.
Right. And I think, you know, one of the students, his interpretation was, you know, people don't think that Maasai can do other things. So you can have, you know, sportsmen who are also Maasai. And this was his interpretation of it, you know, kind of putting in the manyata in the background just to kind of blend the elements together. So that was his interpretation.
And that's true, because I remember not too long ago we had a Maasai cricket team that did very well.
They did. That was,
they
that was
did
amazing.
extremely well.
Absolutely,
So there you go. So maybe we'll have the Maasai playing American football. That looks like
perhaps.
an American
It's a
football.
possibility.
All right, this is definitely very, very, very different. What is going on here?
So
There's nothing that speaks Maasai here apart from the
pieces of the
yeah, the
shuka.
pieces of the
So this
shuka.
was an interpretation of, you know, what the future Maasai could possibly look like in terms of, you know, with climate change and, you know, the climate has changed and they now need to be dressed accordingly to that climate change. So this was kind of their interpretation of what happens years from now when the climate changes and there need to kind of be differences in how people present themselves to keep up with that climate, yeah.
Okay, so I guess this is just a sample. And what do you ultimately intend on doing with this once now the photography once they've done this, what do you do with this, Liki?
What we do with this is basically we show the students that there's an opportunity to sell your original item. You can make money out of your creativity, and you can actually create a living out of it. So yes, like I mentioned earlier, we're going to be exhibiting this work at the National Archives, Tomboya Square. It's free. This is a project for our local market, our local people, done by our local students, our local photographers.
Local photographers. So it's pushing the local market.
So it's
which is a good
pushing
thing.
the local market and exposing it and showing the world what we have.
Okay.
Yes.
Any plans of maybe looking at different communities? Because I think we are very culturally rich community in Kenya. Any maybe other communities that you're going to be looking at?
I think why the Maasai stand out is because they're visually identifiable in terms of what they wear. You know, they're a cultural heritage, and you know you can notice them immediately. I think you know, with Kenya not having like a national dress, visually it's difficult to say, oh, this person is from this tribe or from that tribe or from that other tribe. But of course, you know, there's so many different tribes and so much culture to capture, and you know, it's up to photographers to find creative ways to capture that. So there's definitely hopes of you know, trying to reach out into other cultures and seeing how to bring out those and you know, kind of capturing histories and presence and hopefully futures as well.
All right, and let me call on Ruth now to come in. And Ruth, as a student, I've seen you taking nice pictures here of Mohammed. When it comes to good photographs, what does one look out for?
First, you look at the camera settings, because the lighting, it has to be perfect. Then after that, you have to look at the composition, because also you don't want to take a photo and when you look at it, you can't tell what's
And by
going on.
composition, you mean positioning of
Positioning of your model or your whatever you're taking a photograph of, and also, for me, I think it's better to take like less busy photos. I don't know if you understand what I mean.
No, explain to me.
Like you don't want to put too many subjects in one photo, because it will. You'll be like, okay, what am I looking at? I'm looking at this. So it's also, you have to think of how to pass the message that you want to send out there.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll come back to you in a bit. Liki, in terms of photography, you do have people who maybe do corporate
Yes.
events. You have pictures like this, which is more of modeling.
Yes.
There are others maybe who love still life. How does one, what are the different types, and possibly how does one identify which one I can be good at?
I must say, sometimes it depends on what opportunities you have on your table. But then you find that a lot of times you are inclined towards a particular interest as a person. So let's say if you're looking at wildlife photography, you find that you're really inclined and you really appreciate what nature has to offer. So you find yourself going to that side. There's a lot of photography classifications. We have wedding photography, corporate photography, now photography like this for exhibitions and for sale, which is quite interesting. This actually comes from passion, from an inner calling. It doesn't really, you're not paid to produce this, but what you produce pays you. You understand?
Yeah.
So it's really...
It's an inborn thing.
Yes.
Sarah, how does one, I mean, photography, like I said earlier, with a fairly normal camera, you could take some nice pictures. But what is it that differentiates a good, really good photographer and one who is just, because I mean, for me to center you and put you in a picture may not be that difficult.
Right. I think you can take a good photo with a phone as well, right? You have iPhones now which can do amazing things. So I don't really think Samsung. I wasn't paid. However, if you're listening, no, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, let's just stick to, we have good phones that can take
yes,
pictures.
there are good phones which can take photos. And so, of course, when we're talking about then you have to consider printing quality and those type of things. But not everyone has an eye. Taking a photo of a person, and saying, oh, this is if a person is attractive, doesn't make it a good photo, right? How is the light hitting their face? Where are they positioning the other things in the image? Why are you looking at this person? Why do you want to look at this person? There's so many elements that make a photo a good photo.
So would you say photography is an art?
Absolutely.
So is it an learned art, or is it something inborn? Because you see, like if you take somebody who draws, they probably have that within them, and maybe they just perfect it. Is that the same with photography, or is this something that, like Ruth, go to a school and you're taught this is how you do your lighting, this is positioning, this is everything in place, then you become a good photographer?
I mean, I think that they're different things. Some people are self-taught. Some people teach themselves how to be photographers. Some people go to school to learn photography. Some people are just born with it. They just have an eye. And those type of people may be inclined to have artistic families. So I think there's different levels of it. I think you can learn how to become a good photographer, but there's some people who are just natural at it. I guess it depends on your passion. How passionate are you to learn? If you don't have the eye, not to say that it's impossible, but some people just have it and some people don't, and it's possible to learn it.
Okay. Ruth, what would you say to young photographers out there who are possibly looking at photography as a profession? What is your experience so far?
My experience is very good, and I'm still experiencing more, because right now I can't say that I'm very experienced, because I've been photographing for about a year now. So to young photographers out there, I can just tell them to follow their passion. Don't be afraid. Go out and shoot. Even if you shoot some bad photos, don't be ashamed, because you'll get there. Even me, I used to shoot some bad photos, and I come to the office, I tell Licky, hey, I was out shooting, come see my photos.
And he asks you, what is this?
Then he tells me, what the hell is this? This is what you did wrong, this is what you learn. And I always appreciate criticism. I think I grow if someone criticizes me, instead of saying, yeah, it's a good photo, you tried, I want you to call me out and tell me, you did this wrong, And I think, okay.
All right, Licky, one of the areas that may discourage people, maybe because of perception, into getting into professional photography is purely cost of equipment.
Yes.
And availability.
Yes.
Is it available? What costs are we talking about?
Cost really varies from about 40,000 going all the way to about 1 million Kenya shillings, depending on what you really want to acquire. But sometimes it's not really about the equipment. It's about what is in your head and what you really want to implement. Like you said, there are few gadgets. There are small gadgets here that we already have on access, like phone, that can actually give you a good product. But what will determine the cost of your equipment is what do you want to finally use that photo for. Yes, and that determines how expensive you want to acquire that equipment.
And entry point, if I just wanted to get some basic good equipment.
Yes.
Because I know there is semi-professional, there is professional.
Yes.
There is literally the high-end equipment. What would I be looking for, or rather looking at in terms of cost when it comes to entry?
In terms of cost, for an entry-level person, we'd look at about 40,000 bob.
Okay.
That's a pretty good camera that can achieve so much.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Then you might want to add a few accessories like, let's say, lights or a flash, or that might cost you a bit more, like an extra 20,000. Yeah.
Okay.
So,
and well, I guess we can go on and on and on
Yes.
about photography, but why don't we put this to the test? So I want to invite the crew now to just come, some of you, so you can do one group photo as we hand over to the DJ. So guys, all of you, can we just come together and have one big family here photograph, which we shall remember Liki for. So there you go. And of course, Ruth, unfortunately, being the camera lady, you're not going to, the photographer. Photographer, yes. Big, yeah, so, and this thing of people going for functions, where cameraman?
Yes,
Is that
that is why
offensive?
that, yes, very much so.
It's offensive.
Yes.
So the right term is
Please do not-
photographer.
Photographer.
Yeah, so please, when you go out for a function, it's a cameraman, photographer. But now these ones who are taking videos, what do I call them?
the camera.
The crew.
Crew.
Your
Crew, can you come and we have these pictures taken as we hand over to the DJ. So crew members, come on guys, let's do this quickly. And from me, which I think I'm on this camera right there, and wish you all a fantastic and a good day as we do this photograph and say goodbye. So Ruth, are we well placed? How do we stand? Tuko sawa? Tupendane kidogo.
Pendaneni.
Maybe some of us need to breathe in. Should I breathe in and make sure you slice some of
I'll try to crop them
unaweza
out.
muongezea. You can give it to her.
Okay, now smile everybody. Kuna mtu alikula githeri hapo.
Ati kuna watu walikula?